those pictures of Elvis now, and it's a threatening presence. I mean, nobody looked like that then. You look at Elvis with his classmates and those very early photos, and he just looks so different. And you harness that to what he was sounding like, and it is revolutionary. You know, the man was a revolutionary.
I think that eventually music would have changed, even if Elvis hadn't come along. Kids were looking for, record buyers were looking for something different. It just was sped up. The process was sped up because of the success of Elvis Presley and that first recording, which was so different. Blue Moon of Kentucky and That's All Right Mama, whether you like it or not, whether you like the recording or not, changed music forever.
I don't know if anybody else who had gotten a break at that time could have done what Elvis did. And the thing that helped him pull it off, he was immensely talented. He could sing all styles of music, and being able to do that, he pulled all styles of music together, the gospel, the rhythm and blues, the country. And he's told me, he said, GK, when I sing it, it comes out rock and roll.
This is the story of that revolution, from Presley's early days in Mississippi to the groundbreaking release of Heartbreak Hotel, the story of history being made. On January the 8th, 1935, the future king of rock and roll, Elvis Aaron Presley, was born in this small house in East Tupelo, Mississippi. His parents, Gladys and Vernon Presley, were blue-collar workers, and Elvis's life in these formative years would be far from easy, growing up in a small, impoverished town during the final years of the Great Depression.
Well, East Tupelo was comprised of factory workers. That meant very low-paid labor, unskilled labor. Most of these people had come to town from the farms looking for a better way of life. Although, you know, he was poor, yeah, but this was a depression and everybody was poor. And it's not poor in the sense that we think of poor today. There was always plenty to eat. There was always clothing, albeit maybe not the most fashionable, but it was very passable. Everybody had a shelter. It was a community spirit, particularly in East Tupelo, because everybody knew everyone. Everybody looked out for one another, and everybody shared. For instance, if there were a camera, any family was welcome to use that camera. The family that had the radio, then when the Grand Ole Opry came on Saturday nights, any and all who wanted to come listen in were welcome. That sharing atmosphere, I think, did a lot in Elvis's development and carries over into his adult life in the way he shared his wealth a lot of times with perfect strangers.
In 1941, Elvis was enrolled at East Tupelo Consolidated School, later renamed Lawhon Elementary.
First time I met Elvis was at East Tupelo School. We got to knowing each other real well. Elvis was a quiet type of a boy. I liked him real well because he was quiet and not rowdy or nothing like that.
Although both Vernon and Gladys were supportive and loving, from an early age Elvis developed a strong relationship with his mother.
She was real good. She was a real good person and quiet, easygoing, unless she got mad at him. And she'd tell him to do something and he had to do it. We'd go fishing and she'd let him go with me because I was 2 years older. But my mama got in bad health, and I lost 2 years in school on account of she had cancer real bad. And so that throwed me right in the grade with Elvis. I was out 2 years before I ever started back school. And she was real good to him and everything, but she was always afraid that he was going to get hurt or get in trouble or something. Yeah, she'd tell him to do something, and he always tried his best to do it. If she told him to be back at home at 2 o'clock, she expected that. And he would look at my watch. I had a watch, and he'd look at it, and he'd say, "It's almost time, we gotta go, we gotta go."
The right mother had the right child. They had the same desires, the same dreams, forceful dreamers, both of them. And what she was so interesting was she knew exactly when to look after him and protect him and when to let him go.
A Southern boy and his mother is a special relationship. And I know that Elvis shared that special relationship with Gladys. It's nothing corny about it. It's nothing perverted about it. And it's something I find in the South more than anywhere else. When I look in other parts of the United States, a boy who wants to make his mother proud, a boy who wants to do things for his mother because he sees the indignities or other sufferings that she may have suffered while he was a child, to make a better world for him, and he wants to make it better for her. So what's the first thing Elvis does when he has success? He buys the house on Audubon, then he upgrades to Graceland. But it just shows how much he wanted to repay her the debt that he felt he owed, and yet it was never looked upon as a debt. It was an honor to be able to do these things for his mother. And after Gladys dies, you really don't see him doing these things for his father. I mean, his father was always around, his father was always a part of his life, and his father was always close to him, but I don't think ever the way he and Gladys were close.